this one is a request. There is this huge discussion on X and on Facebook and also on IG about this X account called Touring Asia Pop, claiming to be an authority when it comes to reporting and generating data of ticket sales of different Asian acts when they tour. So the conflict started because some people started questioning the reports or the numbers that they were providing. All right. So this is their X account. If you go to their website, it is now public. When I check them to do a screen cap of their account, I think they went private for a while, but now they are public again. So if you go there, you will see their tweets. They made some bold claims, specifically accusing Billboard of manipulating the data. And that started because some people started questioning the reports that they were providing. This is one of the reports that the people questioned. They said that Blackpink's Wembley Stadium were sold out. The two stops were sold out 100%. And then they also stated that Stray Kids has a 99.9% sale rate for their Dominate tour. Okay. So people started questioning, number one, where are you getting your data? Second, there seems to be some material inconsistencies with what you are claiming and what is actually possible. All right. So they claim, okay, before we go there, the conflict intensified when they responded to people that were questioning the validity of what they are reporting. So here is one of the responses that they posted, that they said that we tried to ignore, at this hour still going, had enough. Wembley Stadium sold out day one. We will not let this concert data be misinformed either. Here is our evidence: July 28, 2025, the last date of the report before we gotten more busy. There was only 871 tickets left, they said, for day one. Extra releases. Now, people are asking, how do you know there were extra releases? We don't know. Okay. The blue spots are just resales. We even jot down the timestamp from June. The two fandoms, I don't know what fandom they're talking about, stop trying to be a touring expert. You are not. So I guess that implies that they are the touring expert. We keep all this as evidence because we know we were e- we were eventually going to be challenged. If that official touring report gives much less than what we said, so the official touring report they were referring to was Billboard and touring data, then we're going to be making some phone calls because Wembley is the biggest stadium in Europe and bringing big capacities bookmark this, they're going to break the record. So they're talking about Blackpink. Now, the other thing that people sort of started questioning is he actually responded to an allegedly account who's kind of toxic because this account attacks other groups violently. Violently in words, I guess. Okay. So that's so people were like, why did you respond to an account like that? And then the other thing, I guess, just fundamentally, why would you respond to fans? Because if you're a professional account, then you would just let them talk, right? And just for as long as you're doing your job. Now, one of the fundamental questions that people asked is that why did the venue not confirm it was 100% sold out? If you have been in this K-pop thing for a while, or just concerts in general, if you do like live performances, you would know that venues actually confirm when it is a sold out. They announce it one way or the other, and this is one evidence. For Wembley, they actually announced in 2019 that BTS made history by selling out two shows under, so okay, the seven idols, one iconic stadium and one incredible weekend. So they confirmed it was sold out. They've done that to Beyonce, to other acts as well. This one is just the one that I have on hand. Okay. Now when they tweeted about Blackpink, there was no indication of a sold, no mention of sold out. In fact, when they tweeted the day before, they were still trying to offload some tickets. They're saying that you can still buy some tickets. Okay. Now, the other thing is the Dominate World Tour. So, the claim of Touring Asia Pop is that the sell rate is 99.99%. However, Touring Data came out with this. So, many were sold out 100%, like Mexico City, Tokyo Dome, Osaka, Sao Paulo. So there's a lot 100% sold out. A lot of venues were actually 100% sold out. But there were also some, not a lot, that were not 100% sold out. So one of that would be Melbourne, Marvel Stadium. That was only 89.33. You have Philippine Arena, 77.66. That's not a stadium though. And then Alliance, 96.99. National Stadium, 85.11. Okay, so I didn't do the math. Maybe if you average all of this, and oh, they had one more, and this is for Oshana. So it's 93.56. I didn't do the math. Maybe it's going to come up to 99.99%. Now what they're saying is that this is incorrect. They're saying this is incorrect. They're underreporting it, and of course that's enraging many of states. So, and that's sort of like people started accusing certain agencies, specifically Hybe. They're saying that, oh, this is Hybe's doing. Basically what they're saying is that Hybe is manipulating the numbers so that then the record of BTS will not be erased, is the claim. Okay. um Now, the thing about touring data, box score, or even Polestar, is that Polestar is another organization that generates these reports, tickets sold, and other things. Now, they usually are delayed in announcing because they verify their sources. So, for example, J Hope, it was only recently that they announced the numbers of J Hope's North American leg. So as you can see, it says 100%, 100%, 100%. But for Asia, it's still to be announced. So there is a considerable amount of delays because they consolidate different data. They do have direct connections to the labels. They get the reports from the labels themselves, or the management company of the artist, or whoever is the producer. And then they have direct connections to the stadiums or the venues themselves. Okay. Now, the for Touring Asia Pop, they claim that their sources of information came from on the ground people. So they said that at times they have people on the ground that are providing them screenshots or photos of which sections are full, how many seats are vacant, and stuff like that. And I also read one of their tweets saying that they get reports from fans as well, even saying that, this only goes to show how important your role is as a fan in reporting these numbers. And that in itself is not a very efficient and not the most reliable way of getting information, primarily because occupied seats don't necessarily mean they are sold seats. They could be guests, giveaways, other things, and also vice versa. Just because it is vacant doesn't mean that it is not sold. Maybe these people didn't appear for whatever reason. They didn't show up for whatever reason. So just eyeballing is not the most reliable way of actually doing it. You need to know why those people are not there. And they don't have those information. And then for giveaways, like for example, for Blackpink, and this is for this tour, they were giving away their tickets at a discounted price. And they also had like, some sorry about my dog. So they also had some um they also had some giveaways, partnerships with other people to give away their ticket. And so if you simply rely on the number of tickets that you assume to be sold based on the pictures that you're seeing and multiply it by the price of the tickets that you see online, that is not a very reliable way of doing it, because there are tickets that are going to be sold at a much lower price. And then some seats will be marked sold when in fact not they weren't sold, they were meant for something else. Okay. So here is another one. So that's for Seat Geek. If you go there and buy it from them you can get a discount. This is from Ticket Network. Okay. And then as I've mentioned before, venues announce when a concert or an event is actually sold out. And here is the tweet I was talking about earlier when Wembley was still offloading the tickets the day before. All right. And also there were also outside of this, fans also got pictures of seats that were not occupied. And then the venue itself, there was a bigger portion, the portion that was closed off, there were curtains and stuff there, so they knew that they had more seats that were covered. Okay. Now, the most reliable would be Touring Data and Box Score. So Touring Data both actually have connections to labels and to venues. Box Score is directly connected to Billboard. Touring Data is independent, but they do have connection to all of those as well, including Billboard. But just because it is the most reliable does not mean it is 100% accurate. Okay. Because they also get reports from the label itself. So if the label says it was 100% sold out, they're going to take the word of the label and actually do it that way. So, and actually announce it to be that. So, still, that's a little questionable because many labels would actually declare that a tour is sold out, even if it is not, to make their artist look good. Okay. And also, the label can buy the tickets and then resell them. And this has happened before. Again, if you've been in the K pop industry for a while, even if it is just as a fan, you would know it happened multiple times. Certain labels would actually buy the tickets and then resell them in reselling sites, but they are reselling it for the same price. So you kind of know that there's something fishy going on. Okay, and then the other thing is that um some venues will actually declare a sold out even when they've only sold 95% of the capacity. So just a sold out does not mean 100% sold out. It only means that they sold enough to be able to declare it to sell out. It's a sold out by their standards. So those what I would consider to be a margin of error. Those things are just a given. It has always been muddy. The way this business happens, it's always been muddy. So, nonetheless, it would still be direct from the horse's mouth. So you have go to the venue and see not I mean look at the venue announcements. If they said it is sold out, then that's a more reliable source than some people, a new account that does not have yet direct and established connections with people that are actually directly connected to this event. And then the other is the ticketing platform itself, because the ticketing platform would be very, very visible, right? And then but those two, for the ticketing platform itself and for the venue, they will just tell you whether it's sold out or not. They're not going to tell you exactly how many seats were sold. So for that, then you have to go to Touring Data and Box Score and even Polestar to generate those numbers. Okay. Now, here is an example of what you can actually get if you go directly to the platform. Here is the tour of Oasis for Rose Bowl. This is for their Rose Bowl stop. And there's absolutely not a single ticket that's available. Now that's sold out. Now, it could happen that there you will still be able to see some tickets that are available because some people would resell the tickets. Now that because it has already been sold, that's considered sold. That's considered sold. So just look at the standard tickets. And for this, as you can see, nothing. So that's a proof that the ticketing platform is also a reliable source on whether that this venue actually sold out or not. The only problem here, as I've mentioned earlier, is that if the label buys it, then it will reflect in here. If the label buys it, if they give it away, then it will show as sold here, or at the very least unavailable. Okay. Now here is an announcement from Ticketmaster. This is for BTS's permission to dance on stage LA. So they announced that there will be no general sale because everything was sold on pre-sale. So there you go, sold out. If they're not selling it, then I guess it's a sold out, right? That's a reasonable conclusion. And then here is the announcement of SoFi when they announced that Twice's concert was sold out. I'm just proving to you that they actually do announce it, that the venues would actually announce it when it is sold out. And here is Billboard further solidifying that that concert was actually sold out. And here they mentioned SoFi and then MetLife. MetLife also announced that the Twice concert was sold out. So that is the biggest question to a lot. Like the venue didn't say that it was sold out. So you can't exactly rely on eyeballs and pictures that are being sent by people, unless you know why those people aren't there or why those people are there, then. So that being said, I know that a lot of armies are actually getting agitated because, the record of BTS is being now. Do remember that BTS has never had a stadium tour. They had their encore was stadium for Speak Yourself, which is the encore of Love Yourself, but not a proper stadium tour. So that's one. Second is that this was 2018, 2019. If someone is trying to compete with your record that you established in 2018, 2019, I think I would say that's a compliment. This happened, 5 years, 6 years ago, and people are still competing against that number. Um, so so remember that. The other thing is that you do need to take into consideration inflation. So let's just say, for example, it's 200 million. It isn't, but just say for 200 million, that's how much they earned. That's how much BTS earned. It's not. I'm just saying, just using that as an example. That's how much they earned back in 2018, 2019. That 200 million now, if you consider inflation, real inflation, and not the inflation numbers that the government is actually providing you, that's way more than 300. I'll say right around 350 million. Now, if you use official inflation numbers, that's going to be way lower because that's just how inflation is inflation computation is designed right now. So, um, that's a number versus value. It's not the proper computation that um, people are actually using. Also, Stray Kids, they worked very, very hard to get to where they are right now. If there's anything, I wish we could just be happy for them. This is their debut was actually messed up by the pandemic. When they debuted, there was a pandemic. So for a long time, they couldn't go out, they couldn't tour, they couldn't meet their fans in person. That's a big factor. So for them to get to where they are right now, I hope we could just be happy for them. They worked very, very hard for this. And they are themselves very respectful of BTS. Their own leader has several times already mentioned BTS paved the way. We're thankful for BTS. They're very, very the fans do not represent the group. So let's just block these people and concentrate on congratulating Stray Kids. They really, really deserve this. Okay. Now, for this account, Touring Asia Pop, it seems to be a fan account to me because they themselves admitted that they don't have direct connections to the venue, to the labels, and they're relying on people on the ground reporting, and then looking at online ticket sales and whatever. So I'll say take that with a grain of salt. Definitely not an authority, at least not yet. But just like any other organization, we got to start somewhere, right? So they are starting somewhere. Maybe time will come when they will become very credible, and they once they establish their name, they can also have direct connections to the labels, to the venues. But as of now, they're trying to grow. Just take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to you don't have to treat their tweets like it is the authority, right? So um that's it. That's where I stand as of now. As I've said, it has always been janky. It has always been this touring numbers and this reports, it's always been janky. So I've always reverted into just believing um the most reliable sources out there. Nobody is going to be 100% accurate, but that's how it is. So let them celebrate. We've got a lot on our hands. And yeah, and then we have our own tour to be busy with in 2026, hopefully. And so let's just start saving money so that we as Army fans can watch the concert. I also, as you know, if you are a long term watch or follower of this channel, you would know that I'm a huge Stray Kids fan as well, and so I am actually very happy for what they have achieved. Okay, there's a helicopter. All right, so um, if you can, please donate to the channel. The QR code that you're seeing on your screen right now is going to help us expand. We are launching our online magazine, but you can head to that website, asianentertainmentandculture.com. It is on it's on a soft launch right now. I'm still uploading many of the content that I need to upload. So, but the traffic will tremendously help us. And then hopefully by next week, I can do like a proper launch. So please go there. And if you have comments, if you have input, suggestions, let me know. I will really appreciate it. Also, so as I've said, please donate if you can. That's going to go to that. And then other projects, which I will be discussing eventually. Also, if you can, please follow me on X, on IG, but more importantly on Patreon, because that's where the community is. Lots of great conversations happening. We talk a lot about K-pop, but we also talk about other Asian movies, TV shows, books, and sometimes we just mess around. And then, if you can, please leave a comment. Also, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button if you haven't already. But the most important thing that could help the channel is if you spread the channel, send it to your friends, send the links to the link to your friends, um post or paste it on your social media and post it. That will really help the algorithm or train the algorithm to recommend us more. Okay, thank you very much. I hope I provided some clarity. Let's all chill. Thank you. See you soon.